Here's some tips on selling home improvements where one person wants it more than the other. The most common scenario when you sell home improvements or do in-home sales is that you're seeing two people, usually husband and wife. I don't want to sound like I'm stereotyping, but this is the most common scenario. You're seeing two people. Now for this video I say husband and wife because it's easier, and I refer to the husband as the one to sell, but it could go either way. Now I don't want to sound chauvinistic because in reality it's usually the wife who's really in control of the marriage. So don't condemn me for the examples I'm using. I'm also going to go over what I use in the close for this that has helped me make a ton of sales, so please listen to the end. So if you're selling in the home and if it's a typical relationship, you have to sell both people. You can't sell one out of the two. You either go 2 for 2 or 0 for 2. 1 out of 2 is like going 0 for 2 because you won't make the sale. Sometimes you're in a situation where one person wants it more than the other. The other person acts like they don't care and are somewhat involved. The main thing I do is focus even more on the one who isn't as sold because they're the most likely person to kill the sale. This situation can be defined by the husband saying something like, "Well, to me the kitchen looks fine, but my wife's been bothering me for years to get this done." Or some variation of, "I really don't care, it's whatever she wants." Or the wife may say, "I know we need to get new windows at some point, but I don't know if it's totally necessary." In sales, you've got to leverage every benefit you can. Sometimes I may flatter the one not sold or gently put him on the spot. One way I do this is by saying to the wife, "Well, for what it's worth, I can tell you have a good husband who must really love you then to even be looking at a new kitchen when he doesn't care, but obviously he cares about you." You have to do this tactfully, and if you have enough rapport, I do it all the time and never upset either of them. Usually the wife says, "I know," and the husband smiles. The other thing I may do is just try to bring it out on the table and ask the husband point blank, "Well, do you think your wife is being foolish or silly for wanting to get the kitchen redone?" It's a nice way of putting him in place. In most cases, they won't argue with that. Again, your frame of mind through all this is that you're there to help the person get what they want. If it's just one person, then you're helping them get the other person on board. This scenario is probably more common a lot of times with interior products like bathrooms or flooring or carpet or kitchens, something that has a cosmetic aspect to it. A lot of times I actually feel sorry for the wife. You know, the one that's got the dress that's been washed 1,000 times, where the husband's got all these new toys outside and she slaves over the kitchen to feed her family every single day. And she's not strong enough to get the husband to do it without my help. The second situation regarding this is one person doesn't want to be involved at all. Then you've got to get that person involved. I remember one time I was talking to a husband and wife and they both seemed into it. We're in the warm-up and all of a sudden the husband says, "Okay, I gotta go." And I say, "Well, where are you going?" "Oh, I'm gonna go downstairs and do some work right now. This is her project." This is one of those moments of truth that if you don't do anything right now, he's gonna leave and then it's all over with. My response was, "Oh, if you don't mind, I just need about 5 more minutes because I have a couple questions to ask you, some things about the house and some information about the electrical and gas hookups, and then you can do what you want." Then I got him involved as we're doing the information gathering process, because those of you who know me know I use a set list of questions I ask to do this. And once I got him involved, he was there 2.5 hours later as we were writing up the paperwork. In that case, I knew I literally had 5 minutes to get the husband involved and engaged. The point is that in any situation, you want to get them both involved. The easiest way to get someone involved is to ask them questions and always go back and forth when you talk to them. For example, if I'm gathering information such as for HVAC like, "Well, do you have any hot or cold spots in the house, Mary?" I always followed up with, "What about you, John? Anything else you want to add to that?" Don't let them not respond. For example, if you're in the survey or information gathering process and you ask what I call the non-sold person, "What color do you think we should go with? Or do you want casements or double hungs?" And their response is, "Well, like I said, it's up to her." I always followed up with, "Well, I know it's up to her, but what do you think about it?" You'd be surprised how many times the "I don't care" person gives you a very detailed opinion. Now, the opposite of that is where you create the situation by focusing and asking questions to just one person and leaving the other person out. That encourages them to leave and not be part of the process. Another scenario may be where you'll see the other party leave right in the middle of your presentation and have to go do something. This can happen for a couple of reasons. One, you didn't get them involved enough, and two, you didn't get enough rapport and respect. In the worst case, they don't say anything and just get up and leave. When you're new and you're weaker, usually you know what's happening and don't do anything until it's too late. I've seen this happen to other salespeople, and I still remember when I was new, I saw the husband get up, put his coat on, leave the house, and then once he was 5 minutes away, finally did I get enough nerve to say, "Oh, by the way, did your husband leave?" It's too late then. And when that happens, it means you have no rapport and no respect. Imagine a conversation you're having with some friends, and all of a sudden one person just gets up and leaves the house without saying anything to you. That's what's happening here. If you've gotten them both involved, this won't happen. But even if it does, you have to be strong enough and deal with it right when it's happening and say, "I'm sorry, if you don't mind me asking, are you leaving?" "Yes, I have to go leave and I have some things to do." "Well, is this something you're not interested in, or have I upset you in any way?" "Oh, no, she can handle the rest." "Well, if you don't mind, we still have to be going over some things like color selection, picking out different styles, payment options, and it's usually better to have you both here to get all of your questions answered. What I found that if you're both not here, invariably somebody calls back and says, "Well, John wanted to know if you can get the payment lower, or can we do this instead of that?" So instead of going back and forth, which takes longer and wastes more of your time, we can get all of your questions answered at once. That way, the only time I talk to you again is if you want to place the order. Make sense? And get them to stay. When you're new, you may feel uncomfortable doing this, but once you've been brutalized enough by people doing this to you and wasting your time, you'll get strong enough and you'll hold the line. Another dynamic of where one person is sold happens in the close. It's very common when you're in the close that one person really wants it and is obviously sold on it. When you sense that, you need to let that person help you sell the remaining one. You can tell one person is really sold because they say, "Oh, I really want this," or sometimes it's more subtle. One of the biggest buying signs that I get in the close is when one person says, "Well, what do you think, honey?" My take on this situation is that when you're in the close and one person asks the other, "Well, what do you think?" that means that person is sold. If they weren't sold, they wouldn't be saying anything. So the best way to handle that is when the person says, "Well, what do you think, honey?" I always jump in right before the other person can answer and say, "Well, I definitely want to know what your husband thinks, but I have a question for you. What do you think?" Because I get the feeling that if it was up to you, you'd be doing it, wouldn't you? "Well, yes, I would." And then when they answer yes, then ask them why. It will force them to reinforce their answer. "And why would that be, Mary?" "Well, I like it and I think it's a good deal." Now, it's almost like you're two against one. You and the person who asked the question. The best strategy now is once she says she'd be doing it and why, is just to be quiet. The silence and nature will put a lot of pressure on the husband. Don't say anything and let him make the first move.